Blame yourself if I don't love you,
Hello
okay?
all, welcome back to the channel. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. You won't want to miss a second of this intense update from Sister Wives star Janelle Brown. Life in North Carolina has taken a meaningful turn for Janelle, and she's just shared some deeply personal and exciting news. From breaking ground on her dream home to coping with unimaginable loss, Janelle is inviting fans into one of the most emotional chapters of her life. You'll want to stay with us to see the touching gift she received from her daughter. It's something every parent will feel in their heart. Just recently, Janelle, who is now 56 years old, divulged a much-awaited news. She's finally started constructing her dream house. This is not another project. This is the realization of a dream she had for years. She told her that the property she has beside her daughter Madison has now been legally plotted out for construction. Following her estimated schedule, Janelle aims to have the house finished during the holidays. She even showed fans a peek at the floor plan, which features a warm porch meant for family hangs, because home is where love resides. But there are emotional layers beyond that. After her son Garrison's devastating death, Janelle has been moving through grief with courage, and her kids have been with her, sending love into every moment. One particularly poignant moment was on Mother's Day, when Madison presented Janelle with a potted plant adorned with the small handprints and footprints of her grandchildren. The act made Janelle cry. You could sense her joy and grief entwined in that beautiful, simple act of love. And that's not all. Janelle recently celebrated her birthday, and she did so in style with a trip to Santa Fe with her closest friends. They toured historic sites such as the New Mexico History Museum and the mystical Loretto Chapel. Upon returning from her vacation, she related a heartwarming moment, being reunited with her favorite pet dog, who had been well cared for by Madison and Savannah during her absence. Her eyes sparkled with joy as she related retrieving her dog. She was as happy to see me as I was to see her. Nevertheless, Janelle's life has not slowed down. She's been posting little pieces of her daily life on Instagram, giving fans a glimpse of her thriving garden with broccoli, cauliflower, and lettuce. Sure, some weeds are starting to get in the way, but she's delighted with the small harvests that she's getting. What's even sweeter is that it's now become a family activity. Madison and even Christine have caught on. Christine's even blogging about her own gardening experience at her Utah Airbnb. But as we all know, happiness is usually accompanied by sadness. Especially in the next episode, the Brown family has one of their toughest moments yet. Adieus to Garrison. It's shaping up to be an amazingly emotional goodbye, and just when you thought you'd heard it all, Gabe Brown, Janelle, and Kody's son has resurfaced in the spotlight with a shocking announcement that fans are rejoicing. In a recent three-part eulogy to his deceased brother, Gabe came back in a courageous move. He revealed about the horrific day that he learned about Garrison's death. The public wasn't only touched by his vulnerability, but also by the strength it required to open up. Gabe has not had the best relationship with his dad, Kody, but in this instance, everyone was focused on his resilience and his potential. And here's the surprise you didn't see. Gabe is now venturing into something entirely new. While he was hanging out in Las Vegas, where his brother Logan and Logan's wife Michelle reside, Gabe appears to be dipping his toes into the world of customized video shoutouts. That's right, he's now selling cameo videos to fans for a little more than $40 per message with a fast 24-hour turnaround. It's a steal compared to Kody's $149 price point, and fans are enjoying Gabe's carefree, goofy vibe. He even cracked jokes in his intro video about doing meal reviews or dishing out some salacious behind-the-scenes tea about the show. It's great to see him smile again, catching glimpses of levity while he makes a new way in the wake of all this loss. So, what's next for the Browns? From new houses and tender presents to flower blooms and daring new adventures, their life is changing in ways none of us ever could have imagined. Don't miss staying around because this tale is only halfway through, and the next chapter could be the most compelling one so far. Most of their lives, Garrison and Gabe Brown stood shoulder to shoulder, literally. They rode out the pandemic storm, fought strained family life, and even struggled with the creepy thought that their own father, Kody, wished them gone from home. Garrison was toiling away to save for a down payment on a home, while Gabe was fighting college. Though Garrison did have some savings, he decided to remain at home, and their mother, Janelle, strongly upheld that choice, even when Kody accused his own sons of being a threat in their own household. Garrison kept to a tight schedule, off to work and back straight away, whereas Gabe would be out late with his girlfriend. Such tiny day-to-day things create an impression of ordinariness in the midst of turmoil. Things did not get better with their father, and tragically, it ended in catastrophe. But when the unimaginable occurred, when the Brown clan had to come together for Garrison's funeral, hearts everywhere shattered, particularly for Gabe. Fans have always been sympathetic toward Gabe, and it is easy to understand why. One moment in particular broke many: Kody forgetting Gabe's birthday. The disappointment was palpable. Gabe's silent agony manifested as visible pain. For many viewers, that was one time too many. No child should ever have to feel that kind of pain, one fan wrote, a sentiment shared by thousands. Gabe's braveness in standing up to his father was admirable, but also a sore reminder of how deep the wounds go. And here now, in North Carolina's rural peace, things are different. The fragrance of pine trees wafts through the air, with secrets of new beginnings. Far from the showmanship of the past, a woman famous from TV is quietly beginning again. Janelle Brown is taking a very intimate path, one of grief certainly, but also of hope. Having spent years negotiating the intricacies of plural marriage, having moved repeatedly, having given up her own desires, Janelle is finally creating space for herself. Space, literally. Her relocation wasn't merely geography, it was a deliberate choice to mend, to connect with her soul, and to finally, completely feel like she belonged somewhere. As spring broke into warmer days, Janelle had something tangible to anticipate: the building of her own house. This was more than a building. It was a tangible manifestation of her strength, her principles, and the love she has for her family. She had lived in rentals for years, had even had a stint in an RV, but today, gazing out at a plot of land close to her daughter Madison's house, she saw stakes marking the boundaries of her future. "This ground is not dirt," she said one morning to herself. "It's my past, and it's my future." Each step toward the house was fueled by years of quiet determination. Her dream is simple: a cozy, welcoming home, not a great mansion. A spacious porch for talks and coffee, space to stretch out for pets to bask in the sun, and space to play for grandkids to laugh and run around. She envisions a garden that blossoms with herbs and vegetables, where knowledge can be exchanged as freely as fresh air blowing through open windows. "I would have my grandbabies recall the scent of rosemary and frogs croaking at twilight," she said to fans in an honest post. Not about luxury, about legacy. A moment followed so poignant, it reduced her to tears. On Mother's Day, a gift from Madison halted her in her tracks. A planter, plain and humble, but with a strength words couldn't convey. Mixed into the clay were her grandkids' small handprints and footprints, a quiet witness to love and belonging. It was a living memory, a moment suspended in time. Holding it against her chest, she felt the weight of Garrison's loss ease just a little. "This isn't a gift," she would say later, her voice shaking. "It's a living tribute." Soon after, Janelle had her birthday, But it wasn't any ordinary revolution around the sun. This time it was about something profounder, surviving, withering away, and the resilience of second chances. She traveled to Santa Fe, a city throbbing with history, with art, with spirit. There were no big bashings, only hallowed moments. There were trips to chapels where stained glass spoke of hope. They strolled cobblestone streets where the past discreetly brushed shoulders with the present. It wasn't an escape from life, it was a celebration of the pieces of it she battled so hard to regain. And as Janelle recovers, her son Gabe makes his own way forward. In loss, suffering, and disillusionment, he's finding a new place, spreading his energy to fans in personalized cameo videos. It's not just content, it's a means for him to relate, to inspire, and perhaps to heal a bit as well. Reasonably priced at just over $40, his videos are authentic and sincere, a breath of fresh air compared to Kody's pricier ones. Fans adore him not so much because of what he's gone through, but because of the light that he still bears. With every tale that is told, every step that is taken, and every new memory created, this family is a reminder of something universal, that even in tragedy, love manages to flourish. Stories of courage and quiet moments of introspection filled Janelle's days in Santa Fe. In holy whispered chapels where the sun streamed through stained glass, celebration wasn't a matter of excess, it was one of simplicity. There were no lavish dinners or flashing trappings, just real laughter beneath open skies, wordy conversations draped in starlight, and the understanding that the most subversive way to celebrate is sometimes simply to begin anew. When she came home, her aging dog, an unflinching friend, welcomed her with unbridled excitement. Her youngest daughter had looked after the little gray pup during her time away. Janelle was overcome with emotion. She cried. "I miss this little gray face so much," she penned softly. "She's not a pet. She has a spot in my heart." In the privacy of her North Carolina property, Janelle rolled up her sleeves and addressed the earth. In the warm arms of her garden, she felt rooted, alive. The earth was gentle, forgiving. Rows of deep purple beets and blooming cauliflower stretched toward the sun alongside crisp heads of emerald lettuce. Broccoli stalks reached for the sun. Naturally, nature had an agenda of its own. The weeds came back with a vengeance, demanding to be treated daily, yet she discovered a strange serenity in the daily grind. "There's something therapeutic about weeding that I just love," she quipped in a vlog update to her subscribers. "You clear out room for what you actually want to cultivate." More often than not, her daughter accompanied her in these humble ceremonies. Side by side, they planted and watered and talked. Some days were lonesome. Some days rang with laughter and chatter. These humble things of gardening became an anchor, deepening their connection and encouraging others in the family to begin planting as well. For it wasn't about food, it was about care, about tending life in the face of sorrow, about upholding a legacy, about remembering a son. But even amidst growth and sunlight, there was an empty space within Janelle's heart, a spot where the presence of her darling son Garrison lingered. Bright, soft-spoken, deceased before his time. In those quiet times, she looked for means of keeping him near, of keeping his spirit alive. On one corner of her property, she planted a flowering dogwood tree, its dainty petals that were to bloom just as winter let go. She laid her hand against the earth and said softly, "This is for him, so that he comes back to me a little every spring." Every blossom was a silent note from beyond. And when sorrow threatened to boil up like a tempest, she would go to the tree, put a hand on its trunk, and say his name aloud into the breeze. In so many ways, Janelle's updates were more than social media blasts. They were acts of presence, unvarnished, uncensored peeks into her path. She didn't pose as knowing everything. She didn't conceal the tough days, but she didn't allow grief to define her. Instead, she opted to create a life based in truth and healing, and as spring gave way to the promise of summer, her eyes came into sharper vision. Not only a house, but home, a peace-founded foundation on memory, a life filled not with wealth, but with progress, with presence, with purpose. But even as happiness came back in small, everyday rituals, another sad chapter was waiting just ahead. The long-term reality show of the family was going to feature one of its most tearful episodes ever. It wouldn't be about drama or relationship dynamics. It would depict something far more profound. A family getting together to bid farewell to a son who had gone too soon. This was different. This was sorrow at its most human, a shared pain that went beyond entertainment. And in it all, Janelle would again prove her strength, not as a TV personality, but as a mother, a grieving warrior, a woman who, in the face of the heartbreak of loss, opted to stand tall, to be present, and to keep loving her children with all her heart. Despite the darkness of sorrow, Janelle's heart was still receptive to happiness. Week by week, her garden was more bountiful. Her home gradually became a home. Scattered in various cities and situations, her family was still close to one another, united by subtle fidelity and abiding love. She started plotting season dinners on her porch, imagining children barefoot on the lawn, laughter ringing through the branches. Her visions were modest, rich gatherings, honest conversations, and a life that was deeply, unrepentantly her own. In a family so very defined by turmoil, it is this young man's steadfast resiliency that speaks loudest now. His good-humored interactions with fans, frequently laced with humor and humility, have created for him a unique niche within the hearts of many. But deeper, beneath the good-natured one-liners and the relaxed suavity, is something else, a genuine friendliness, a beaming joy that is such a drastic contrast to the pain and upheaval of the past couple of years. This isn't performative optimism. It's the real thing, the kind that takes work, the kind that comes from choosing healing over hurt, day after day. His path has been far from smooth. At its center is the unbreakable relationship he had with his deceased brother. They were each other's constants amid years of family tension and individual doubt, facing their father's belittling, their individual aspirations, and the worldwide disruption of a pandemic. One was a college student fighting for a future, the other, a diligent young man seeking stability and self-sufficiency. Even when questioned and doubted, most especially by their father, their mother was a staunch defender of them, an unflinching champion of their development and welfare. The brothers' own story was one that differed from that presented in headlines, one of commitment, support, and steadfast endurance. The loss of his brother was a tragedy that touched deeply, a void that words can hardly contain. Even in grief, though, the family united for one last goodbye, one that was beautiful in its truth and heartbreaking. The public, having seen years of family conflict and nuance, reacted with empathy. Many remembered the poignant moment when he challenged his father on television, asking, softly but insistently, why care and presence had so frequently been missing. A narrative redeemed now, with each message he sends, each laugh he lets out, each glance at his changing life. This young man redeems his story. He is no longer a secondary character in a family soap opera. He is a testament to what it means to move on, but hold on to the past. His is not just the strength of having endured tragedy. It's in getting up from it with kindness still present. Fans who once listened with curiosity now watch out of respect. They witness a man who has endured loss, grown through strife, and become not hardened, but human. And even though he may end each video saying, "Thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe," what truly engages people is not the subject matter, it's the courage. It's the honesty. It's the evidence that you can find joy even when it is painful.